All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dave Cave and the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network for today's presentation of Heartland Championship Wrestling. As we say hello in the front row, front and center, Neil Lau, welcome to the broadcast. We are coming to you live from Miami, Florida, as Philip Reynolds is on board as well. We've got action from the Atlantic Wrestling Federation, including a very exciting main event, a number one contenders match for the Heartland NWA World Heavyweight Championship. It will be Bob Backlund taking on Ric Flair, accompanied by Bobby Heenan in tonight's main event, and the winner of that contest will move on to next week's pay-per-view broadcast of Dawn of Destiny 2023 to face the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, the World Heavyweight Champion Bryan Danielson, as after further review with Steve Tower is here. A wonderful two-fingered salute to you, my friend, as well. Also on tonight's show, a grudge match between Dick the Bruiser and Cactus Jack. That should be a wild one. And for the first time, I've not tried this before, but we are going to do a Piper's Pit segment here on the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network. This is a new experiment. Before we came to air, we had a few matches prior to the broadcast. We started things off with the Flying Redheads taking on the team of Tom Zank and Brian Pillman. And it was the Redheads, specifically Red Bastien, winning that battle when Bastien caught Zank in a sleeper hold and put an end to that one. Bobo Brazil then came on with a big victory over Dick Murdoch with a Cocoa Butt. And Vern Gagne used a flying head scissors to take down Kurt Hennig for the victory there. And now we are ready for today's action. There's a couple of different Piper's Pit cards available. So we are going to try the official 2021 excuse me, Galacticon version of the Piper's Pit. Fine artwork, as always, contributed by Werner Muke. And the guest for the Piper's Pit segment today will be Frank Gotch will be your guest on today's Piper's Pit segment. Gotch and Piper hooked up in a contenders match for the Atlantic Heavyweight Championship that was won by Gotch via disqualification. And Piper was not happy about taking the defeat by disqualification and has set up this segment with Frank Gotch as we get commentary from Steve Tower. I'm waiting for Legends to put out a paper bag wrestler card so we can settle it once and for all if Flair could pull out a match against anyone. Good call, my friend. Okay, so for the Piper's Pit segment, we have a 2 to 12 die roll here. And on a roll of 7, let's see what happens. It's certainly a pleasure for you to be here. The wrestler's feuding enemy interrupts the interview and challenges him to a match. If the wrestler is a fan favorite, he accepts the challenge, schedule the match for the next available card. If the wrestler is a rule breaker, he rejects the challenge with a lame excuse. The fans boo the wrestler mercilessly. Well, Frank Gotch is indeed a fan favorite, and in this case, the rival is Roddy Piper himself. So it will be Piper and Gotch in a special challenge match on a future card. Other options would be a tag team match. Everybody wants to be like Roddy Piper. Another option, if I might be quite candid with you, you're an idiot, which would lead to a match with one of Piper's allies. And finally, just when they think they have the answers, I change the questions. And Piper attacks the wrestler and injures the wrestler. So Frank Gotch was diplomatic enough to keep his way out of an attack by Roddy Piper, but he will accept a special challenge match against Piper on a future show. So that will get things kicked off for our opening segment. And we are ready for our first in-ring action of the night. Gosh, this feels like an episode of Monday Night Raw or something. We got to get all the yakking out of the way before we can get any action in the ring. So we are ready for tonight's opening televised contest. And as we set things up, I do have a request for the audience. I did change a couple of the camera settings on the broadcast. I panned in a little closer, and I disabled the autofocus, which made it seem like the action was jumping in and out a lot. So any camera-related feedback y'all have about the quality of the video on today's show would definitely be appreciated. And now here we go with tonight's opening contest. This match is scheduled for one fall with a 45-minute time limit, and it is a tag team matchup. Introducing first from Moscow in the USSR. He stands at 6'4" and weighs in at 313 pounds. This is Nikolai Volkov. And his tag team partner comes to you from Tehran, Iran. Weighing in at 262 pounds, he stands at 6 feet tall. This is the Iron Sheik. Iran, number one. Russia, number one. USA, Haktui, says the Iron Sheik as he comes to the ring. And their opponents coming to you from Denton County, Texas, at a total combined weight of 494 pounds. This is David and KERRY, the Von Erich brothers. So David and KERRY Von Erich coming out to the cheers of the fans here in Miami, or as the Iron Sheik would call it, Miami. Welcome to Miami, says the Iron Sheik, and he is ready to do battle with his tag team partner, Nikolai Volkov, alongside. Volkov taking a moment to sing his rendition of the Russian national anthem. Nikolai didn't have a bad singing voice, actually, in all honesty. But we are ready for action now in Miami. And it will be KERRY Von Erich, a.k.a. the Texas Tornado, starting things off against Big Nikolai. As action gets underway here in Miami, and it is Nikolai Volkov who wins the opening initiative role. And he comes out with a headlock, catches a headlock on KERRY and a sucker punch right to the forehead. KERRY not liking that. KERRY fires back, tries to duck under and go behind, and catches Nikolai in a waistlock. KERRY Von Erich holding that waistlock on Nikolai. What's he going to do now? Nikolai spins out of it, and KERRY just nails him with an overhead right. Nikolai goes down. KERRY goes for the quick cover. The pin roll is 3 or lower, and on a roll of 6, Nikolai kicks out. But a quick statement made here early by the fabulous right fist of KERRY Von Erich. KERRY taking control now with a big knee lift. Nikolai is stunned, but he staggers back and gathers himself. And coming back together, it is Nikolai attempting a double axe handle blow. This is a choice F maneuver. He will need a roll of 6 or lower to complete this. And on a roll of 6, he does get KERRY with the axe handle blow. And KERRY is staggered back. And KERRY will not choose to make the tag. Nikolai will tag in the Iron Sheik. And into the ring comes the Iron Sheik with every intention of making KERRY Von Erich humble. And he comes in with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes KERRY Von Erich. And on a roll of 7, it is a running back elbow from the Iron Sheik that stuns KERRY. Iron Sheik again with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes KERRY a second time. Oh, and this time on a roll of 12, it is the Iron Sheik nailing a belly-to-belly suplex on KERRY as he comes off the ropes, and KERRY goes down hard. Iron Sheik now in control, and he is going to go now for a vertical suplex, or as Gordon Soley is calling the action here, a vertical suplex, to be attempted by the Iron Sheik on a roll of 7 or lower. Excuse me, 8 or lower. And on a roll of 5, he gets him up, over, and down to the canvas hard. And KERRY Von Erich is down. He's going to try and crawl over and make the desperation tag to Brother David. And on a roll of 9, he is unable to do so. As we say good afternoon to Cleveland baseball fan 879, hope all is well. Iron Sheik in control, and out of the ring we go. Iron Sheik pitching, KERRY Von Erich out of the ring. And on a roll of 9, KERRY tries to get back under the bottom rope, and Iron Sheik just starts putting the boots to him. Finally, KERRY is able to crawl back into the ring. Iron Sheik in control still. And now he loads up the boot and nails KERRY with the loaded boot. That is going to cost KERRY a point of fatigue. As Mark Ferguson comes into the chat room with a humorous anecdote or a limerick of some sort about one KERRY Von Erich and his comparison to talking to a horse. A horse is a horse, of course, of course. And the Iron Sheik is in control, and he's going to ride that horse and try and make him humble as he goes for a kick to the stomach, and KERRY Von Erich is dazed. Iron Sheik stays on his man and goes for the abdominal stretch. That's a power move. KERRY, the stronger of the two men, is able to power out of that. And KERRY responds instead, reversing it into an abdominal stretch of his own. And KERRY finally reaches over and tags in David Von Erich, who will see his first action in this match. As David comes in and takes the Iron Sheik down with a spinning toe hold. Can he force the submission here? It's going to take a roll of snake eyes, but on a roll of 6, Iron Sheik is able to make his way over to the bottom rope and force the hold to be broken. Salvador America joins us in the chat room. David Von Erich still in control. And now he's going to go for a cross body block. This is a choice H maneuver. And on choice H, we have the option to go to the death jump roll. So we will go to the death jump chart. Oh, but on a roll of 3, that is Iron Sheik rolling through the move. So David comes off with a cross body block. Iron Sheik, always thinking ahead, rolls over, tries for the pinfall on a roll of 2. And on a roll of 10, David kicks out of the pinfall. But Iron Sheik with a nice reversal as David tried the cross body block. Here comes Iron Sheik now in control. And he is going to try and roll David over into a Boston Crab. This also is a choice H maneuver, which means we go back to the death jump chart. And this time on a roll of 10 from the death jump chart, that is the agility roll. And in this case, the agility belongs to David. So David is able to avoid being rolled over into that Boston Crab. And David comes out the other side. And it is David with a big drop kick on the Iron Sheik. Another quick cover. The pin rolls on a roll of 3 or lower. And on a roll of 9, the Iron Sheik is once again able to kick out. And David now in control. Iron Sheik trying to get out of the ring. David not going to let that happen. And instead, David drags him back into the ring and picks him up for a drop kick. Nice drop kick by David Von Erich. Stuns the Iron Sheik. David still in control. David now with an elbow drop to the knee of the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik trying to get slowed down by that. Can he get over for a tag? No, indeed he cannot. As David keeps control, and David comes back with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes the Iron Sheik, and on a roll of 9, that is the power rating, and these have equivalent power. So David wins the big shoulder tackle in the center of the ring as the rest are on offense. He remains on offense, and now another whip to the ropes by David Von Erich. But this time on a roll of 4, it is David setting his head too early. And the Iron Sheik comes off with a big elbow smash to the back of the head of David Von Erich. David is stunned. Iron Sheik now is going to try once again for that Boston Crab maneuver. And this time on a roll of 6, he gets him over and down in the Boston Crab. Nicely done by the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik remains in control. And now he goes to the Camel Rider. David able to get out of that. Iron Sheik Still in control here, and Iron Sheik now with a big belly-to-belly suplex, and down hard goes David. David goes down hard and stays down, and now Sheik goes for the camel clutch. This is a +2 finisher. Sheik's got the camel clutch applied. The submission roll here is 5 or lower. And on a roll of 12, David is able to power his way out and make it to the bottom rope. But that took something out of David. Here comes Nikolai. The Russians are going to, or the Foreign Legion is going to try for the double team here. And they are going to execute a bone-crunching double clothesline on David Von Erich. He is down. Nikolai now is now the legal man in the ring, working on David Von Erich, who is down. And it is Nikolai who goes with the big shoulder tackle on David, taking David back down to the canvas. Nikolai follows that up with another attempt at a tackle in the corner. This time it is David who gets out of the way, and it is David who comes back and executes a step-over toe hold on Nikolai. As Nikolai crashed to the turnbuckle, went down, David with the spinning toe hold to slow things down. David makes the tag to KERRY. KERRY now the legal man in the ring for the Von Erich brothers. And KERRY comes in with an attempt at a press slam. This is a choice D maneuver. So he is going to need a roll of... Oh, let's see. I can get level 3 on a 6 or lower. I can get level 2 on an 11 or lower. But Nikolai's got 3 reversals on level 2. So KERRY's going to go for broke. He's going to go for the power roll. And on a 6 or lower, he'll be able to hit the press slam. And on a roll of 10, KERRY is not able to get it done. Nikolai powers out of that. And Nikolai comes back with a knee to the gut that slows down KERRY and gives Nikolai the opportunity to keep up and slap on the Russian bear hug. Russian bear hug applied by Nikolai Volkov. KERRY gasping and trying to work his way free as Nikolai continues the Russian bear hug. And now we're going to have a submission chance here on a roll of 4 or lower. And on a roll of 8, KERRY is finally able to get to the ropes and force the break of the Russian bear hug. Nikolai did some damage with that one. Nikolai now in control. Another shoulder tackle by Nikolai takes KERRY down to the canvas. Both men coming together in the center of the ring, and now it is Nikolai with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes KERRY Von Erich. Oh, and on a roll of 12, it is a big specialty move by Nikolai Volkov. A double thrust to the throat that puts KERRY down on the mat. He got all of that one, and KERRY is down. Nikolai now in control, and a big throat drop onto the top rope by Nikolai. Stuns KERRY. KERRY in some trouble here as Nikolai goes with another knee to the gut. KERRY desperately trying to get out and make a tag. He's not able to do so. In comes the Iron Sheik. We're going to see a double team move here. But oh, on a roll of 12, that is a botched double team. Nikolai is holding KERRY while Iron Sheik tries to come off of the turnbuckle, but KERRY ducks out of the way, and the Sheik smashes his own partner. KERRY with a quick cover. The pin roll here is 4 or lower, and on a roll of 9, Nikolai kicks out of the pinning predicament, but smart thinking there by KERRY avoided the double team. KERRY now in control. And KERRY has got the Iron Claw applied. Iron Claw applied by KERRY Von Erich on Nikolai. This is a submission hold. The submission rating is 5 or lower, and on a roll of 9, Nikolai is able to get out of there. But that puts up his third fatigue token, and that means it's time for some partner intervention. As Nikolai is in trouble here, Iron Sheik is going to come and do some damage. And on a roll of 8, it is the Iron Sheik who smacks KERRY on the back of the head to force him to break that hold. That infuriates KERRY, but Nikolai is slow to get to his feet, and KERRY maintains control. And KERRY now with a discus punch nails Nikolai right between the eyes. He makes the cover again. This time the pin roll is 7 or lower, and on a roll of snake eyes, we'll have a pin unless Iron Sheik can save the pin, and on a roll of 9, he is unable to do so. So KERRY Von Erich with the discus punch defeats Nikolai Volkov, and the Von Erich brothers are your winners. So Nikolai Volkov is pinned as KERRY with the discus punch. Pins Nikolai Volkov, and the Von Erichs are your winners here in Miami. Iron Sheik very unhappy with the outcome of that match, as his team goes down to defeat, but the crowd here in Miami is celebrating with the Von Erich boys, David and Kevin, as they come out victorious in tonight's opening televised contest. All right, and let's see what kind of action we missed out on in the chat room. Salvador America, I believe we greeted Mr. Salvador. Neil, Philip, Neil, and Mark Ferguson. Hooray for the Von Erichs, says everybody. All right, the next contest is going to be a grudge match. And this is a very interesting grudge match. There is some history here. Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall with no time limit and no disqualification. Introducing first from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. He stands at 6'2". He weighs in at 287 pounds. This is Cactus Jack. And he is accompanied to the ring by his second, the diabolical Christina Von Eerie. And his opponent comes to you from Reno, Nevada, 6'1", 261 pounds. This is Dick the Bruiser. All right, so Cactus Jack and Dick the Bruiser fixing to square off. The bad blood between these two began last month, when their respective teams, Dick the Bruiser with his tag team partner, the Crusher, were taking on Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan in a qualifying match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And Cactus Jack used his teeth to take a chunk out of the forehead of Dick the Bruiser, and Dick the Bruiser is not one to forgive an infraction like that. Unfortunately for Cactus Jack, that cost his team the disqualification and knocked them out of the NWA World Tag Team Championship Tournament, which was ultimately won by Bruiser and Crusher. So Bruiser and Crusher are now your reigning NWA World Tag Team Champions. And next week at the pay-per-view, it will be Bruiser and Crusher taking on the new #1 contenders, which is Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack. So not only are we getting a grudge match from last month's encounter, we're also getting a preview of the NWA World Tag Team Championship match that will go down next week on pay-per-view. Salvador America, this will probably spill out onto I-95. Indeed, it probably will. Neil Lau, Christy is in my Velvet Fed. Yeah, Christy did have a contract in Heartland Ladies Wrestling, but she was fired from Heartland Ladies Wrestling when Alex Rodriguez took control, and she tried to make a name for herself and failed, and Alex sent her packing. And after she had kind of wandered the streets and lurked in the unemployment line, she was taken in by the team of Sullivan and Cactus Jack, and she does their bidding at every opportunity. So, with that as the backdrop, it is time for your grudge match, Dick the Bruiser versus Cactus Jack. One fall to a finish, no disqualification. And the opening initiative role is won by Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. And it is Cactus Jack coming out with a kick to the gut. And that stuns Dick the Bruiser. And now it is a whip to the turnbuckle. Whip to the turnbuckle by Cactus Jack as Dick the Bruiser comes off the turnbuckle. It's actually Dick the Bruiser who grabs the arm of Cactus Jack and reverses the move. Cactus Jack into the turnbuckle. And on a roll of 6, Bruiser charges the corner. Cactus Jack lifts a knee to the head, and Dick the Bruiser catches that knee full force. He is stunned. Cactus Jack now coming back with a stump pile driver, and that sends Bruiser crashing down to the mat. Dick the Bruiser is going to roll out of the ring, and the party starts here. On a roll of 7, it is a throwdown on the arena floor, won by the wrestler on offense. In this case, actually it's the 7 is the best man wins role. And in this case, they are both A-rated performers, and so the wrestler on offense, Cactus Jack, wins the first brawl on the arena floor. And as action comes back into the ring, it is Cactus Jack with the double arm DDT on Dick the Bruiser. That's the finisher. The pin roll is 4 or lower, and on a roll of 7, Dick the Bruiser kicks out, but Cactus is taking control here. Cactus will break one of his arms so that he can break 3 of your ribs. Indeed, sir, you are correct. And now it is Cactus Jack taking the action out of the ring once again to the arena floor, where Dick the Bruiser is ready for a fight. And on a roll of 9, once again, it is Cactus Jack winning the fight as he grabs Dick the Bruiser around the waist and just drives him back first into the steel security railing. Cactus Jack still in control here as Christina Von Eerie screams with her approval. And now the Cactus clothesline as Cactus comes off the ring apron and obliterates Dick the Bruiser on the arena floor. There you have it. And that move is add 1 to both. Salvador America, you called it. This guy will break his own arm to bust 3 of your ribs. And he has wiped out both men on the arena floor with that Cactus clothesline. Cactus Jack first to get to his feet as the action continues. And now it is Cactus again taking things out of the ring. And now we have another indicator here on the Cactus Jack card. Once per match, Cactus may attempt somersault leap to arena floor. A level 3 maneuver, add 1. So Cactus Jack hits the somersault loop to the arena floor, somersault leap to the arena floor, coming off the ring apron with a somersault cannonball on top of Dick the Bruiser. And Dick the Bruiser is in rough shape now as Cactus comes in and just goes with a methodical corner beatdown. The methodical corner beatdown applied by Cactus Jack. He is pummeling away. And now Cactus Jack is going to go up to the top rope and attempt a death jump. And on a roll of 9, he nails Dick the Bruiser coming off the top rope with another flying clothesline. You just never know what direction Cactus Jack is going to come from. And he nailed that one. Now he's going back up for another death jump. And again, he nails Dick the Bruiser, this time with a big elbow smash right between the eyes of Dick the Bruiser. Dick the Bruiser is reeling here as Cactus Jack has taken control. And now it is action going out of the ring once again. Still no shenanigans roll yet. And on a roll of 7, it is another brawl on the arena floor. Dick the Bruiser busted wide open after that elbow to the head from Cactus Jack. And Cactus Jack now biting at the head of Dick the Bruiser to open that gash even further. Dick the Bruiser in trouble here. He doesn't mind the sight of blood nor the taste of it. And he don't care whether it's his blood or somebody else's. He's fixing to keep fighting. And here comes Cactus Jack now out of the ring once again. And now it is shenanigans time. We go to the out of the ring again chart. And it is going to be the ringside mayhem chart. And on a roll of 8, we're going to have the foreign object come into play. Not surprising here. As what is this? It looks like Christina Von Eerie was wearing a leather belt, and she has taken her leather belt and handed it to Cactus Jack. And we may say a good old-fashioned country whooping here. We go to the gut check roll, and it is Cactus Jack winning the gut check roll and taking a piece out of Dick the Bruiser's hide with that leather belt. This is fixing to get ugly here, as that's going to cost Dick the Bruiser another token of fatigue, and he is suffering greatly at the hands of Cactus Jack. And now it is Cactus Jack with a diving elbow off the ring apron onto Dick the Bruiser. Didn't get all of it, but he got enough to stun Dick the Bruiser as action returns to the ring. And Salvador America hears Cactus making that screeching noise now. Back in the ring, a stump pile driver by Cactus Jack. slamming the bloody head of Dick the Bruiser into the mat. Now Cactus Jack squeals with a chokehold. It's a squealing chokehold right here on the card. Dick the Bruiser finally getting back to his feet, trying to get some action here. Bang, bang, says Cactus Jack, as they come together in the center of the ring. Bang, bang again. Cactus Jack standing over Dick the Bruiser and taunting him. And now a kick to the gut by Cactus Jack. Finally, Dick the Bruiser gets a chance to fire back with an arm bar and an ear pull. Dick the Bruiser's got the arm bar. He's tugging on the ear of Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack is laughing hysterically as Dick the Bruiser pulls on his ear. But now it is Dick the Bruiser who's going to take things out of the ring once again. A battle on the arena floor. And on a roll of 10, it is Dick the Bruiser retrieving a steel chair and just giving Cactus Jack a good whack. Dick the Bruiser maintaining control now as Cactus Jack crawls back into the ring. And here is the top rope knee drop from Dick the Bruiser. That's a +2 finisher. The pin roll here is a 5 or lower. And on a roll of 5, he's going to get the pin unless Christina Von Eerie can create a distraction. And she is not able to do so. Christina Von Eerie tried to get up on the ring apron, couldn't get there quick enough, and after the top rope knee drop, it is Dick the Bruiser scoring the pinfall. But Dick the Bruiser took some punishment there, but comes out with the pinfall victory by way of the top rope knee drop. So your winner by pinfall is Dick the Bruiser, but he's a bloody mess. And he's got a big grin on his face from one ear to the other. Cactus Jack is still ready to keep on brawling, but he lost by pinfall. He doesn't really even seem to care that he lost. Both these men are grinning from ear to ear after a very intense battle. Dick the Bruiser's blood is all over the faces of both men as the referee tries to separate things and send both men back to their respective corners, and they will meet again next week in the NWA World Tag Team Championship. So Dick the Bruiser wins the grudge match. Both men will be back next week here on the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network on pay-per-view in Tag Team World Championship competition. A bloody Dick the Bruiser gets his hand raised in victory. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time has now come for your main event of the evening. The following contest is scheduled for one fall with no time limit. And the winner of this match will be the new #1 contender to the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, from Charlotte, North Carolina. He stands at 6'1". He weighs 243 pounds. Accompanied to the ring by Bobby the Brain Heenan. This is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo! Says Ric Flair as he struts down the aisle. And his opponent also stands at 6'1", weighs in at 234 pounds, hailing from Princeton, Minnesota. He is your reigning Patriot Heavyweight Champion. This is Bob Backlund. So it is champion versus champion here. Bob Backlund, the Patriot Heavyweight Champion. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, the Atlantic Heavyweight Champion. Both these men have risen to the top 2 contenders ranks in the NWA. And they are going to square off here for a shot at Bryan Danielson next week at the Dawn of Destiny pay-per-view. Disqualification rules are in effect for this match. And I know we've seen some controversial disqualifications, but this is a World Championship qualifying match. And both men are expected to maintain the appropriate decorum as they conduct themselves in the ring here tonight. Dream matchup right here, says Salvador America, and I could not agree with you more, my friend. As it is the Nature Boy who wins the opening initiative role. And into the ring, it is the Nature Boy with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Backlund. And on a roll of 8, it is a big kick by the Nature Boy that stuns Backlund and puts the Nature Boy in control. And a somersault knee drop executed by Ric Flair onto the head of Bob Backlund. Backlund slow to get to his feet as the Nature Boy is in control. And now another somersault knee drop. Ric Flair goes for a quick cover after that. The pin roll is only a 1, so we don't need to roll for it, but that does cost Backlund a point of fatigue as Flair comes out with a couple of those knee drops to the head, rolling through and stunning Backlund on the canvas. Nature Boy now stays in control, and he immediately pitches Bob Backlund out of the ring. Here we go out to the arena floor. And you would think this would be to Flair's advantage, but as it turns out, both these men are A-rated performers on the arena floor. So Backlund with the A rating out there can be expected to hold his own. But on a roll of 11, it is Flair who wins the brawl on the arena floor. And according to the charts, it is Flair taking a whack at Backlund with a steel chair, risking disqualification. But on a roll of 6, the referee is going to allow the match to continue. Flair now in control after whacking Backlund with a steel chair, gets a warning. And now a big suplex by Flair takes Backlund down to the canvas once again. Flair has been in control from the word go in this match. And now it is Flair with a butt drop across the leg. And that stuns Backlund. And that also gives the first leg wound of the match. And so that will increase the effectiveness of the figure 4 if Flair is indeed able to apply the figure 4. As they come back together in the center of the ring, it is Ric Flair strutting around the ring and giving a big woo to the fans at ringside. Bob Backlund is not very happy about that, and it is Backlund who winds up and clocks Flair with a forearm. Backlund now taking the offensive with that forearm, and now a big delayed vertical suplex hanging high in the air. Counting several seconds as the blood rushes to the head of Ric Flair and down to the canvas finally goes the Nature Boy. Backlund in control. And Backlund now rolls him over into the Boston Crab. This is a submission hold. But once again, the submission rating is only a 1, so that will cost Flair his first point of fatigue. Bobby the Brain Heenan at ringside, very concerned as Backlund moves in. And it is Backlund now who is going to take things out of the ring. And on a roll of 8, it is Backlund who pitches Flair out of the ring. And Backlund is just going to take a breather in the center of the ring, doing a few vertical squats as Flair takes a breather at ringside and confers with Bobby the Brain Heenan before Flair rolls back into the ring where Backlund is waiting. And now it is Backlund with an underhook suplex that takes Flair down to the arena floor once again, and this time Flair rolls out of the ring on his own accord. But on a roll of 11, this time it is Backlund who comes out of the ring, grabs that steel chair, and bashes Flair. As our Red Sox joins us. And Bobby Heenan is screaming, "Be fair to Flair, be fair to Flair." There will not be a disqualification here as Backlund maintains control. And Backlund now attempting a one-arm Gotch lift. But he is unable to do so as Flair gets the reversal. And Flair comes back with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Backlund, and on a roll of 6, it is a running shoulder tackle by Backlund that takes Flair down to the canvas. Backlund now follows that up with another wind-up forearm, and again pops Ric Flair across the jaw. Backlund follows that up and rolls him over once again into the Boston Crab. Submission hold in effect. The submission roll here would be snake eyes, but on a roll of 11, Flair is able to make his way to the bottom rope to force the hold to be broken. Backlund now in control. And now Backlund's going to the crossface chicken wing. This is a +3 submission hold. The submission roll now is 6 or lower, and he will not get the submission here as Backlund, as Flair is able to make his way over to the bottom rope. And now it is Backlund with a pile driver, and with that we're going to see interference from Bobby the Brain Heenan. Backlund hits the pile driver. Heenan comes in on the, let's see, he's got his own chart here. So the Bobby Heenan interference chart gives us a roll of 2. The Bobby Heenan family storms down to ringside. In this case, it's not a whole family, but he does have Curt Hennig in his employ. So Curt Hennig has come down into the ringside, and he is causing chaos. We may see a disqualification here, possibly on a roll of 6, but Heenan is able to waylay the referee and prevent the disqualification, and that is going to allow Flair to take over on level 3 offense. So Heenan has used up his usefulness. Flair takes another point of fatigue after the pile driver, but Flair is now in control thanks to the assistance of Curt Hennig, with Bobby the Brain Heenan providing the distraction to keep the referee from getting any wiser to it. And now Flair has Backlund trapped in the figure 4. That is now a +1, and the submission roll here is 3 or lower. But on a roll of 7, Backlund is able to get to the bottom rope and force the hold to be broken, as the second official runs in from ringside and escorts Curt Hennig away from the ring. It's Flair and Backlund now one-on-one. Flair in control goes to the sleeper hold. He's trying to put Backlund down with the sleeper hold. Backlund drops to one knee, and Flair now is going to the top rope for a death jump. And on a roll of 8, it is Flair coming off the top rope with a double axe handle blow to the head of Bob Backlund, and Backlund goes down. Flair now tries for a pin using the ropes. This is a 0 finisher. The pin roll here is 3 or lower, and on a roll of 7, Backlund kicks out. But Flair keeping the pressure on. He's got that double finisher. He's got the figure 4 and the pin using the ropes. Now here's a big suplex by Ric Flair. He tries the cover again. The pin roll is a 4. And on a roll of 12, Backlund kicks out of that one with authority. And we are seeing a great match here. Both men now at 4 fatigue tokens. Flair in control. Flair again trying to pin using the ropes. He's got his legs on the ropes this time. And he got him. Just like that, Flair with his legs on the ropes has pinned Bob Backlund and won this match here in Miami. The dirtiest player in the game proves himself dirty once again, using the ropes for the pinfall victory over Bob Backlund, and it will be Ric Flair moving to the Dawn of Destiny pay-per-view next week to take on Bryan Danielson for the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Now we go to school, says Salvador America, but indeed it was the referee who got schooled on that one, as Flair with his legs on the ropes makes the cover and holds down the shoulders of Bob Backlund for the 3 count. And Ric Flair is your winner in tonight's main event. Oh no, says Al, Red Sox fan. Must have been rooting for Bob Backlund in that one. The fans here in Miami are mixed. Ric Flair is the local Atlantic Wrestling Federation guy, and next week he will have the opportunity to become the NWA World Heavyweight Champion if he can defeat the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. All right, that is our show for tonight. As Al Red Sox fan says boo, but Flair says woo! Salvador America declares Ric Flair your next NWA World Champion. So the bets are already being laid down here this afternoon. After further review with Steve Tower, I can hear Gorilla saying, what a miscarriage of justice. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, Ric Flair is your winner in tonight's main event. He is celebrating along with Bobby the Brain Heenan. We'll be back next week with the pay-per-view broadcast of Dawn of Destiny 2023. And of course, that is the time of year where we have our annual Money in the Bank ladder match. And the participants in that match will include Kurt Angle, Superstar Billy Graham, last year's winner Dr. Death Steve Williams, Barry Windham, Roddy Piper, and Yukon Eric will square off with a title match on the line. We'll also see Sensational Sherry defending the the Heartland Ladies Championship against Nicole Matthews. And of course, we'll see Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher taking on Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack. And this man, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, challenging for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against the champion Bryan Danielson. All right, everybody, thank you for coming out today. It's been a fun show. Salvador America. Mark Ferguson, Cleveland baseball fan, 879. Welcome, my friend. Al, Red Sox fan, Steve Tower. Neil Lau was here earlier on. Philip Reynolds made the appearance, I believe. Mark Ferguson. As we scroll back up, did I miss anybody else? I think not. If I did miss anybody else, my apologies. Thank you all for tuning into today's broadcast. That's our stream, and I am out of here.